Welcome to the Maxwell Leadership Executive Podcast, where our goal is to help you increase your reputation as a leader, increase your ability to influence others, and increase your ability to fully engage your team to deliver remarkable results. Hi, I'm Perry Holley, a Maxwell Leadership Facilitator and Coach.
My name is Chris Goede. I'm Executive Vice President with Maxwell Leadership. Welcome and thank you for joining. As we get started, I want to encourage you to go to maxwellleadership.com/podcast. Click on this podcast. There'll be a form that'll pop up. And if you're interested in learning more about the 5 levels of leadership inside organizations, whether it's from a training perspective, a coaching perspective, we would love for you to submit your name there. Just put 5 levels in that form and our team will follow back up with you. Well, today's topic is titled, How Can You Be More Approachable? And what I love, again, you've heard us say this is straight from the field. This is coaching, front lines coaching, where this is a conversation. This is a question that we're getting asked and helping leaders walk through this. And so we're going to just share a little bit about some of our thoughts around how can you be more approachable as a leader?
I'm trying to decide why it's come up lately. Is this from, during the COVID years, 2021, some of 22, lots of irregular things going on, everybody trying to survive and get their business
guarded,
going.
Right? Not accessible.
Yeah. Business overwhelmingly good for most of the people we coach. They, COVID made them do some things that made business good. Some not, but most good. But now we're back. 2023 was the starting point. 2024, now we're back to the rush and hurry, the whirlwind of pressing for results and things. And I'm guessing that may be but I'm hearing more and more on coaching calls. They said, I just wrote a few of these down. My team doesn't come to me. Actually, I just read on the Maxwell Daily Reader. If you don't do the Maxwell Daily Reader, you should get that. It's 2 minutes a day, little note from John, and it's really a fantastic way to share something with your team.
By the way, speaking of that, one of our avid listeners
What's that guy's name?
I think it's Porta, Brian Porta. I don't know, but it's amazing. We've been up for some meetings and they really do. I thought it was just maybe for show and they just told us that they did this, but it is a big organization
every day.
And they are performers and they're producers. They have a great culture, but every day their meetings start out with the Daily Reader. So I love that because it's a great little way just to begin to shape the culture of what's important.
And one of the readings this week was John Maxwell asked the question, do people tell you hard things?
Boy.
And I thought, that's kind of how it started with me years ago. Was I realized I'm the last to know. Nobody's coming to me, either at home, or teenager got in trouble and I don't know, or at work, sales was dropped or a sale was lost, and I'm the last to know. And so these guys were telling me I'm always the last to know. I'm not sure they trust me. I'm not sure they like me. All kinds of things, and it really got me. To me, the word that we're looking for here is, are you approachable?
Yeah.
And what makes someone approachable? So that's where I kind of picked in some of my ideas here.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that come to mind. One is there's a statement that Mark Cole had learned from John and had shared it with me several times, which is, are you wanting to lead more than you're liked, or do you want to be liked more than you want to lead? And there's a way to go about doing it, and that's what you're talking about. You can be liked and lead. You just got to make sure you're approachable in your leadership style. And so, what does this mean? It means create an environment where your team feels extremely comfortable and open, sharing their thoughts, their point of view, their concerns, their ideas. It's a collaborative event, knowing that we might not always agree, but we will leave in alignment because they have been heard and their voice has been heard, or I have been heard. So it can go either way. And so, I've always thought of this approachable thing as just being friendly. Back to you and I, just, level 2 connection. It's like, hey, just someone to talk to. But back to what you just talked about in the Daily Reader, I recall John asking a question a little bit different than that, which is, when was the last time someone brought you bad news, or maybe something they're struggling with, or whatever it might be? Maybe they strongly disagreed with your point of view in a meeting on an issue, or confronted you about something that maybe you did wrong. If it has been a while since you've had that type of conversation, you might not be as approachable as you think. And I thought that, man, that's so true. Let me take an inventory and what types of conversations am I having with my team or my family, to your point, even at home? And are we having conversations that aren't always fun to have? I know the intent behind it, but man, if we are, and if you are having them, then you're approachable.
Well, this is all about improving your people skills and your relational skills. And I'll just give a shout out. I've really enjoyed following Vanessa Van Edwards on Science of People. If you don't know, she got a couple of books, and her website. Just following her Instagram is enough to give you some tips on things. But I've been kind of keeping track of some of her notes, is putting them with some of mine, and I just really I think some of these can be helpful. So I hope they are for you. But the first one I think I got from her was keep your head up, and it sounds I like little catchy things because it makes me remember that to say if your head's down, you're literally and figuratively closing yourself off to others. And are you are you looking up and looking around? Are you making eye contact? It's a body language thing that makes you appear more approachable. That if you imagine you walking by your boss and they have their head down and looking at their shoes, or got their head in something else,
right?
On the phone or whatever. Yeah, I am not feeling that I can approach you on that. So I think it's a strong signal that you're aware, you're present, you're open to interaction with others. And I just think it was a simple little statement that really resonates with me.
Yeah. The next one I want to talk about is, I want to start off by saying, you always make people feel something, right? We talk about that. So what is it that you're making them feel? And if you don't have the answer for that right away, I want to encourage you to start smiling. That's the next one. How do you smile? And we've talked about this, and I do this now just because he's a mentor and a friend of mine. We're not talking about this crazy thing of walking through the airport making people smile at you. Which I do now because of Perry Holley. And I force people to smile at me. It's a little awkward at times. Like, I really don't want to smile at you, but I'm going to because you won't stop looking at me.
Are you turning the other way in the elevator yet? Or you face the people?
No, not yet, but I need to
do that and smile.
Yeah, this is his influence and coaching on me, folks. But just making brief eye contact with them and offering, a smile to those that catch your eye will not only kind of warm up the room, but it also makes you feel extremely approachable. I tend to do this with the right motive. I like connecting with people, but I've noticed that when I go up to situations, let's use the airport for an example, and let's just say maybe the flight has an issue, just like last week, and I'm way delayed, and then all of a sudden I'm put on a middle of the night flight. All these things, they happen, right? But I know if I go up to the desk and I don't have a smile on my face, what do you think is going to happen? Yeah. They don't want to talk to me, right? No. And so it's like, hey, with a smile on my face, man, it's good to see you, quick eye contact. Depending on the agent, sometimes they do it back, but it makes both of you approachable. And I find that the conversations become more productive and constructive. If you just do that and approach it that way, you become more approachable. And then in turn, once they smile, if something happens when they smile, then they become more approachable. Right.
So it's a mirror reflex. It's built in us from birth. Yeah. And when you smile at others, they usually smile back because they can't control themselves. But I was told by someone that cared about me that I was intimidating, and it hurt my feelings. The last thing I want to be as a leader is I don't want to be intimidating, or as a father, intimidating people in my home or at the office. And then they said, but Perry, you're a different person when you smile. I go, we all are.
Yeah.
And if you would just mind your face, and you'll become more approachable almost instantly.
Yeah. Hey, podcast listeners. Many of you listening right now would probably love the autonomy that comes with owning your own business or becoming a coach that helps other businesses succeed. Well, we have a phenomenal strategy where you are 100% in control of your own business, earning income on your own terms, and have access to the people, tools, and resources you need to build a thriving leadership development business. When you become a Maxwell Leadership Certified team member, you join a global community of entrepreneurs led by our expert team of mentors and faculty, including John C. Maxwell. You'll also get one of the top leadership certifications in the world next to your name, giving you the boost you need to get started. Visit us online at maxwellleadership.com/join the team to find out more.
Third one's going to sound like duh, but keep your phone in your pocket. This is killing so many relationships and killing so much people coming up to us and being able to talk to us, is I've always got this device in my hand. And I think just clutching your phone as if it's some sort of security or blanket or lifeline is not a great way to be.
Yeah.
So I've really started practicing putting it in my pocket. But the other day, I left it in my car when I was going in for a meeting. Now, I did twitch a little bit later
Right.
because I thought, am I missing, something? Because I am used to looking at it. But I didn't have any. I watched the person I was meeting with twice. They just reached over and flipped the phone up to see if they hadn't missed anything.
Yeah.
So made me feel bad,
Yeah.
or less important, or
Yeah.
something
Not
like
as
that. So
approachable. Yeah.
I would think, well, they didn't have to. I made them feel valued because I stayed focused the whole time.
On them. I think this is a little bit of a squirrel trail. I think the same thing happens even a little bit worse with our watches, right? Like
Mind your wrist. Yeah.
yeah, mind your wrist. And we've talked about this before. And it's one of the reasons why I don't have one, because I already have an issue, with what's going on my phone, things they got. And then if I have it on my phone going off, I'm surely going to be doing that.
twitching,
And so
looking
just
at it.
think about the connection with the people. John Maxwell suggests using the 30-second rule. And that simply says that within the first 30 seconds of any conversation, do or say something to encourage the person that you're talking with. Drew Cathy, the great founder of Chick-fil-A, right? How do you know if somebody needs encouragement? If they're breathing, right? So all of us, even if you say, I don't need anybody, yes, we all need some type of encouragement. And so try to do that within the first 30 seconds. It makes you extremely approachable.
Also, you want to be approachable. Be an approacher.
It's good.
I love this because
Don't leave it to everybody else. Yeah,
well,
it's
John
good.
teaches that leaders initiate.
Yeah.
Leaders don't sit back and wait for others to approach them. You can be an approacher as well. And so when you're the one to break the ice, you not only give permission for others to approach you, but you make social interactions less daunting by you being the one that starts the conversation.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting back, well, I don't feel approachable because no one's approaching me, then try going out to the people. Don't make the people come to you.
That's good. Find common ground. This makes you extremely approachable. It's like saying, "Hey, we're on the same team." I'll never forget. A couple of years ago, I was leading an event where we had an activity that we marketed that it was with the Navy SEALs and that we were going to do some activities with them. Now, the group that I had out there, about 100, 120 people, not many of them should ever think about trying to train with the Navy SEALs. So the night before, John pulls me aside and he said, Chris, I want to coach you on a couple of things. I was like, man, give it to me, right? Let's talk about it. He goes, so tomorrow, I feel like there are going to be people in the room that are very uneasy, and we may not get the participation we want because they may feel like it's only them. They may not express their concerns or frustrations. And so here's what I want you to do. And he coached me, and it was awesome. He's like, the first thing I want you to do is get up there and go, hey, how many of you are concerned about what we might do tomorrow? Because I know I am. And immediately get on the same ground with them. And it alleviated a lot of tension in the room. And all of a sudden, after I did my little spiel for a little while and talked through what we were going to be doing, it made me very approachable when I came off the stage and everybody came up and said, man, thanks for doing that. What do you think about this? Or, hey, I'm struggling with this right now with this health issue. What do you think about? And all of a sudden it opened up the dialogue because I immediately went up there, and this is pure John, communicator, coaching me. He's like, yeah, man, go up there and just put everybody at ease and get on common ground and say, yeah, look at this. I'm not getting out there with the Navy SEALs either. It was a great, I'll never forget. It was a great coaching moment, but you got to find common ground. And when you do that, shared interests, histories, values, whatever it might be, then you are going to be able to connect with them. You're going to be approachable. John has another thing around, the law of common ground is around, hey, find that 1% and go 100% in on that. There's got to be 1% of something that's common between you and everybody. Mm-hmm. And whatever that is, then go 100% in on that, at least initially, and there'll be a great connection between the two of y'all.
That's a great story. I was thinking as you're talking, you're talking about common ground, but you're also, this is not on my list of how to be approachable, is being more vulnerable.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm just, as you're talking about, you were being vulnerable about how many of you feel this and how many of you feel that wow. And John's so good at this too. He says, are people near you saying, so what? Or me too. And if you're communicating with people and they just, roll their eyes, so what? You're like, you're perfect. You got it all together. I'm the only one that's feeling, fat and
good.
out of shape with the Navy SEALs telling me, let's go run in the sand. No, me too.
Yeah.
And so you by being vulnerable, you show that authenticity that makes people, it's very attractive. People want to be near you because they say, oh yeah, me too. I relate to that. So
that's good.
The last one I had was adopt to an everyone is interesting policy, is that every person in the universe has unique experiences, perspectives, and knowledge. There's so much you can learn from other people. And actually, you can learn something from every person. And one of my favorite, this quote from Dale Carnegie changed everything for me, because I was renowned for trying to be the most interesting man in the world. People wanted to talk about my travel. They wanted to talk about what countries I'd been to. They wanted to talk about, and I loved it. And I loved being interesting. And then Dale Carnegie taught me in How to Win Friends and Influence People to, well, the quote actually says, you can win more friends in 2 weeks by being interested in them than you can in 2 years by trying to get them interested in you.
That's good.
My little catchphrase for that was, Perry, be interested, not interesting.
Yeah.
And it's hard, but if you want to be approachable when you're with people, stop trying to be interesting.
Yeah.
Because if you're the boss, they'll want to, hey, boss, when did you do this? And you'll say, Thursday, how about you? And you turn it back as quickly as possible to them. So now I make it like a sport of you might throw me a question, but I'm not going to go on like I want to. Trust me, I want to be interesting.
Yeah, that's good.
But I need to be interested in you. And the more people feel like they're interesting to you, the more they're drawn to you.
Yep.
In that.
And I think what you're hearing Perry say is that he's learned this behavior with the right motive on why he's doing it.
No, motive matters.
Right? He's not doing it to increase their influence with them so that down the road, right? Yeah. It's like, no. I mean, I care about people. I want to add value to people. And so the motive is pure in all that we're talking about here so that you are more approachable. As I wrap up, I want to share 2 things in regards to a way that this has challenged me again to think about being approachable with all the things that go on in your life and my life, and as busy as we are, and technology and schedules and all that kind of stuff. The old phrase used to be management by walking around, right? The MBWA, right? Like, so as leaders, the team, are you doing that? Are you walking around, and are you doing some of the things that Perry laid out here for us with your body language, with the questions, with all those things? If you're going to do it by walking around, making sure that you are intentionally doing it for the right reason, with the right motive, and doing it. The other thing that you hear John say a ton, and this is along the same lines, is to walk slowly through the crowd. I get focused, I got an agenda, and I'm moving, and especially at events or whatnot, and I will just walk very quickly, and to Perry's point earlier, sometimes with my head down, right through a crowd, and miss so many opportunities. And I had a peer and a friend of mine call me out one time, and it really shook me, because he's like, hey, you okay? Like, I saw you the other day at this event, and I saw you 3 times walk through the foyer, and not once slow down to talk to anybody. You were on your phone, you had your head down, whatever. And I was like, yeah, we're in the people business, and I just walk by my business. Like I just walk by everything that I care about and care for. And so, yeah, do the management by walking around, but also walk slowly through the crowd, and it'll be amazing, especially if you're smiling, how approachable you'll be.
A tip though, there are times I'm thinking what we do a lot of events. So around an event, there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And if you're on stage, people know you and they want to say hi, and you want to be approachable. I want people to speak, but you're trying to get through. You can't stop and talk to, 20 people. Tips for, it's still acknowledging, I think.
That's
Is that
right.
the right, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I do it a lot.
Instead of heads down and ignoring, I'll move fast, but to look up and have my head up, but I can't talk now. But.
Yes, that's exactly right. I will focus on keeping my head up, smiling, making eye contact, waving, like, hey, look forward to connecting up.
Do you do that? Put your fingers out, call me.
No, I don't do that. Oh gosh, if you guys see us on YouTube, you'd be like, those are 2 old guys. What's going on? Call me. But those that I do actually then stop for, they stop me or they want to talk, I'm very honest, right? Like, so excited to see you, and I am. I want to connect with you. I do. I got to run right now, and I'm honest in a way that is very not direct, not vulnerable, but it's just very honest, right? Like, and they get it, they understand, they know what's going on, they understand it. Yeah. It's much better to do that. Smile, acknowledge, keep walking, fast. Hey, I'd love to connect with you later. If they do stop you, have that conversation. Just be very honest. Say, man, it's so good to see you. But I got to run to this meeting. If I get time, I'd love to come back and connect with you or whatever. Let's connect on a different day. I think that is still showing that you're approachable, and they know that you have an agenda. I think if you do it over and over and over and over again, then it becomes a pattern, and they're like, this is weird. So maybe then you even plan some strategic time where you may have some extra time, and then you're just wandering through there, smiling and walking slowly and being able to stop and
I think that's what walking slowly through the crowd means. Is that, not on the day when I've got 12 meetings, but one of my meetings is walking slowly through the crowd.
Yeah, put it on the calendar.
Put it on the calendar.
I know one of our leaders, Chris Robinson, who is very sought after at some of our biggest events. He schedules time where he is just with the people. Right. That's his whole goal. So there's ways around it and still be coming across as approachable than not.
Great. Good stuff, Chris. Thank you. And as a reminder, if you'd like to learn more about our offerings or get the learner guide for this episode, or even learn about our other podcast offerings, you can do all that at maxwellleadership.com/podcast. You can also leave us a comment or a question there. We love hearing from you. Very grateful you'd spend this time with us. That's all today from the Maxwell Leadership Executive Podcast.
Are you ready to elevate your leadership to new heights? Join the movement towards High Road Leadership with John C. Maxwell's latest book. In High Road Leadership, John explores the power of valuing all people, doing the right things for the right reasons, and placing others above personal agendas. Learn how to inspire positive change and bring people together in a world that divides. Order now and receive exclusive bonuses, including a keynote on High Road Leadership by John Maxwell himself and a sneak peek into 3 impactful chapters. Take the first step towards becoming a High Road leader. Visit highroadleadershipbook.com to order your copy today.